All right, so you're gearing up for that sales processor interview, feeling that mix of like excitement and those what ifs. That's exactly where this deep dive comes in. We're breaking down what hiring managers really look for and how to use RoleCatcher's AI to your advantage.
Yeah, it really is more than just like processing sales. A sales processor is that crucial link between the sales team and the customers that make it all happen.
It's a big responsibility for sure.
Oh, absolutely. You're juggling those sales orders, figuring out the best shipping methods, keeping everyone in the loop the whole way. And here's the kicker. You're the go-to for any hiccups. Missing info, special requests, you name it. You're all about smooth sailing and happy customers.
So it's fast-paced, a ton of responsibility. Let's get into some questions you're likely to hear in your interview. First up, what inspired you to pursue this career? Don't just say, I like sales. Dig deeper. What specifically about the sales processor role calls to you?
Yeah, this is your chance to show you've done your homework, and you're not just applying to any job. So think about your skills and experiences. Maybe you're super organized, love a good spreadsheet, or thrive in a busy environment. Connect those strengths to the day-to-day of a sales processor.
Right. Maybe a past job where you had to troubleshoot orders.
Right.
Or smooth things over with a customer. That's gold.
Absolutely.
They might even ask, what aspects of this role do you think you'd find most challenging and how would you approach them?
Ooh, that's a good one. They're looking for self-awareness. You know everyone has weaknesses, but how do you plan to build them? RoleCatcher's Career Guide is actually super helpful here. It highlights those common challenges for sales processors, like handling peak seasons or dealing with system errors. Use that as a jumping off point.
Okay, next question's a bit of a time management test.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize your tasks on a daily basis?
Right, everyone's got their system. You've got to be able to explain it clearly. Don't just like rattle off a list. Explain your process. Maybe it's color-coded to-do list or a project management app, or even a good old-fashioned planner. Whatever it is, be ready to back it up with a real-world example.
Love that. Something like, when we had that sudden surge in holiday orders, I prioritized based on shipping deadlines and customer needs,
Yeah.
and we still hit all of our targets. That kind of story packs a punch.
Oh, for sure.
Speaking of real-world situations, be ready for that. Tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult customer scenario.
This is the emotional intelligence test. You know they want to see how you handle pressure and resolve conflict professionally. RoleCatcher's AI is amazing for this, by the way. You can practice your answer, and it'll give you feedback on how you sound, if you're using the right keywords, even how confident you appear. It's like having a virtual coach.
Wow. So walk them through a specific situation, how you actively listened, what steps you took to de-escalate, and find a solution. Bonus points if you can show you turn that frustrated customer into a happy one.
Yeah, they might even dig deeper with, what's your philosophy on customer service? So have that concise statement ready that reflects a customer-centric mindset without sounding like a robot you know.
Totally. Let's tackle another one. Explain your experience with Salesforce or other CRM systems. This is a tech check, but even if you haven't used their exact system, don't panic.
Yeah, don't panic. Show that you're a fast learner. Highlight any experience with similar systems databases, even if it's from a volunteer gig or side project, and emphasize you're eager to master new software. RoleCatcher's AI can actually help tailor your answer to the specific CRM they use. It's like you've got a head start.
Love that. Okay, here's one that's all about showing you're invested in growth. What are your career aspirations? It's not just about this job. They want to see that you're thinking long-term.
Yeah, and here's where that career guide comes in clutch again. Did you know there are different levels within the sales processor role? Yeah, you could move up to a senior processor team lead, even a supervisor. So mention that you're aware of these paths and are excited to learn and grow with the company.
Okay, another question that's bound to come up. How do you handle working under pressure? Yeah. This is your chance to show you thrive in that fast-paced environment and can keep your cool when deadlines are looming.
Exactly. And don't just say, I'm good under pressure. Give a specific example. Maybe you had to process a huge backlog of orders while dealing with a system glitch. And you not only got it done, but found a way to improve the process for next time. That's the kind of story that makes you memorable.
Right, and don't forget, RoleCatcher can help you practice your answer and polish it so you're presenting yourself in the best possible light. It's like having a secret weapon in your interview prep arsenal.
Absolutely. Now, they might also throw in a question like, what's your experience with handling sensitive customer information? This is all about demonstrating that you understand data privacy and confidentiality protocol.
Okay, so be prepared to talk about any procedures you've followed in the past, like secure data entry password protection, or even just being mindful of what you discuss openly in the workplace.
Right, it shows you take data security seriously.
It ties into that whole customer trust aspect of the sales processor role. They're
Mhm.
not just processing orders, they're guardians of customer information.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to a question that's designed to gauge your problem-solving skills.
Mhm.
Tell me about a time you had to think outside the box to solve a problem at work. This is where you get to shine.
This is it. Think back to a situation where you faced a challenge, maybe a system issue, a shipping delay, or even just a demanding customer, and walk them through how you assessed the problem, considered different options, and ultimately found that creative solution.
Right, and make sure you highlight that positive outcome. Did you save the company money? Did you exceed customer expectations? Did you improve a process for the future? Those details make your story stand out.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you structure your answer using that STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. It's key to presenting your experiences in a clear, concise, and impactful way.
It's like having a personal storytelling coach right in your pocket, helping you craft a narrative that showcases your problem-solving powers.
Absolutely. Now, building on that, they might ask, what are some strategies you use to stay organized and manage your workload during busy periods? So this is all about demonstrating your time management and multitasking skills.
Got it. So think about the tools and techniques you use to stay on top of things, like prioritizing tasks, setting deadlines, maybe using project management software, or even good old-fashioned to-do lists.
Yeah, and remember, the key is to be specific. Don't just say you're organized. Give concrete examples. Maybe you developed a system for color-coding urgent orders, or you implemented a time blocking strategy, just to make sure you dedicate enough time to each task.
And it's always helpful to connect your answer back to the sales processor role. Explain how your organizational skills will help you manage the demands of the job, especially during those peak seasons, or when handling multiple orders simultaneously.
Absolutely. And don't forget to highlight your ability to remain calm and focused, even when things get a little hectic. They're looking for someone who can thrive in a fast-paced environment without sacrificing accuracy or attention to detail.
All right, let's shift gears to a question that might seem a bit unexpected in a sales-focused role. What are your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to teamwork? They want to see you can collaborate effectively, and that includes recognizing your own areas for improvement.
Right, be honest and thoughtful here. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. It's about how you leverage the former and manage the latter. Maybe you're a great communicator but sometimes struggle with delegation. Or you're highly organized but can be a bit too controlling. It's okay to acknowledge these areas.
The important thing is to show that you're self-aware and willing to work on your weaknesses. Maybe you could say something like, I'm a very collaborative person, and I enjoy brainstorming ideas with my team. However, I'm also working on improving my delegation skills to ensure I'm not taking on too much responsibility myself.
Yeah, that kind of self-awareness is refreshing. It shows you're committed to personal and professional growth, which is always a good thing to highlight in an interview.
Now, another question that often comes up is, can you describe your experience working with different personality types? This is all about your interpersonal skills and your ability to navigate a diverse workplace.
Yeah, think about times when you've had to adapt your communication style to work effectively with colleagues who have different personalities or working styles. Maybe you had to be more direct with someone who is very task-oriented, or you had to be more patient with someone who needed more time to process information.
The key is to show that you're flexible, adaptable, and can build strong relationships with people from all walks of life.
Right. And remember, RoleCatcher can help you analyze your communication style and identify areas for improvement. Its AI-powered feedback can provide valuable insights into how you're perceived by others and suggest strategies for enhancing your interpersonal effectiveness.
It's like having a personal communication coach who can help you fine-tune your approach and build stronger connections with those around you.
Exactly. Now to wrap up this first part of our deep dive, let's address one more question that's crucial for any role involving customer interactions. How do you handle customer complaints? This is all about demonstrating your ability to remain calm, empathetic, and solution-oriented when dealing with upset customers.
Makes sense. Think about a specific situation where you successfully resolved a customer complaint. Walk them through your process, highlighting your active listening skills, your ability to empathize with the customer's frustration, and your problem-solving approach.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to mention any specific techniques you've learned or used, like using calming language offering a sincere apology, or going the extra mile to find a resolution that satisfies the customer.
It's all about demonstrating that you're a customer advocate, who is committed to providing exceptional service, even in challenging situations.
Right, and remember, RoleCatcher can help you rehearse your answer and get feedback on your tone delivery and content. Its AI algorithms are designed to help you present yourself in the most professional and confident manner possible, ensuring you leave a lasting impression on the interviewer.
All right, that's it for part one of our sales processor interview deep dive. We've covered a ton of ground, from understanding the role's core responsibilities to tackling those tough interview questions head on. But we're not done yet. In part two, we'll delve even deeper into strategic insights and tactical tips to help you ace your interview and land that dream job. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We're diving even deeper into nailing that sales processor interview. We've covered those common questions, but let's talk about the curveballs, the ones that seem to come out of left field. How do you stay cool under pressure?
Those can definitely throw you off. Any tips on how to handle those unexpected questions? I've been in those situations where my mind just blanks.
Yeah, the key is not to panic. Take a breath, gather your thoughts, and don't be afraid to ask for clarification if you need it. The interviewer is not trying to trick you. They're just trying to see how you think on your feet. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can actually simulate these unexpected scenarios during your practice sessions. So you'll be more prepared when they happen in a real interview.
Oh, that's good. So you're practicing with the AI and, boom, curveball question. It's almost like you've experienced it before.
Exactly. It helps you develop that mental agility and confidence. Now let's talk about those. Tell me about a time when questions, those behavioral ones. They can be tricky, because you've got to recall a specific situation and present it in a way that really highlights your skills.
I find those tough because sometimes I feel like I'm bragging. I don't want to sound like I'm overselling myself.
Right. Well, that's where the STAR method comes in. Situation, task, action, and result. It helps you structure your response in a clear and concise way, focusing on the facts and the impact you made. And RoleCatcher's AI can even analyze your answers and suggest ways to make them more compelling, ensuring you're hitting all the right notes without sounding boastful.
So it's like having a storytelling coach.
Yeah.
Helping you craft those experiences into these mini success stories.
Precisely. Now let's shift gears to the technical side. Sales processors are often the wizards behind the scenes, working with all sorts of different software programs. So how do you showcase that technical proficiency?
Yeah, it's more than just listing Microsoft Office on your resume, right?
Absolutely. Highlight specific programs you've used that are relevant to the role, like CRM systems, order management software, even like specific spreadsheet functions you've mastered. And don't just name drop the program, give concrete examples of how you've used them to achieve results.
So instead of saying I'm proficient in Excel, I might say I used Excel to create a pivot table that tracked sales trends and helped us identify new market opportunities, something like that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're showing them you understand how to use those tools strategically. And remember, if you're unsure about the specific programs they use, do your research beforehand. RoleCatcher's employer database can be a lifesaver here. You can often find information about the software they utilize, giving you a leg up in the interview.
It's all about being prepared and showing you're resourceful. Speaking of preparation, let's talk about researching the company. I know this one seems obvious, but I know people skip this step.
Yeah, it's crucial. Go beyond just glancing at their website. Delve into their products or services, their target market, their competitors, even their company culture. The more you know, the better you can tailor your answers and demonstrate a genuine interest.
I've used RoleCatcher's AI for this before. It can pull up news articles, social media posts, even employee reviews all in one place. It's like having a research assistant.
Exactly. That kind of in-depth knowledge makes a huge difference. Now let's talk about a topic that can be a bit awkward, but it's important to address. Salary expectations.
Oh, this is always the part I dread.
Well, before your interview, research typical salaries. For similar roles in your area, websites like Glassdoor and Salary.com can give you a good benchmark. When the question comes up, be honest, be realistic, and be prepared to negotiate.
So instead of throwing out a specific number, I might say, based on my research and experience, I'm targeting a salary range of. But I'm also open to discussing this further, something along those lines.
Perfect. It shows you've done your homework and you're flexible. And remember, salary is just one piece of the puzzle. Think about the benefits package, the company culture, the opportunities for growth. RoleCatcher's Career Guide can actually give you some insights into typical benefits and career paths for sales processor roles, helping you assess the overall value of the opportunity.
So it's about looking at the big picture, not just the number on the paycheck. Now let's talk about closing questions. At the end of the interview, you'll likely have a chance to ask the interviewer some questions. This isn't just a formality. It's an opportunity to gather information and leave a strong impression.
Absolutely. And remember, the questions you ask can reveal as much about you as your answers.
Oh, that's a good point. So what are some good questions that show I'm engaged and insightful?
Think about questions that demonstrate your interest. In the team, the company's goals and the role's impact. For example, what are some of the biggest challenges and opportunities facing the sales processor team? Or what are the company's goals for the next year? And how does this role contribute to achieving them?
Those are great. I'm always curious about professional development. Is it okay to ask about opportunities for growth within the company?
Absolutely. It shows you're ambitious and invested in your long-term career. You could ask something like, what are some potential career paths for someone in this role? Or what are the company's policies on professional development and training?
It's also a chance to get a feel for the company culture. I might ask something like, what's the team dynamic like? Do you collaborate often?
Excellent. Those kinds of questions show that you're thinking beyond just the job itself. You're considering the work environment and the people you'll be interacting with daily.
And of course, I always like to end with, what are the next steps in the hiring process? That way, I know what to expect and when I might hear back from them.
Perfect. It shows you're proactive and organized. And if you're using RoleCatcher's network management tool, you can even log the interviewer's contact information, set reminders to follow up and track the status of your application, all in one place.
It's like having a personal job search assistant, keeping everything organized and streamlined.
Now let's transition to something that's often overlooked, but it can make a big difference. Nonverbal communication. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it.
Body language, right?
Yeah.
I know I tend to fidget when I'm nervous. I'm sure that doesn't make the best impression.
We all have our nervous habits, but being aware of them is the first step. Practice good posture, maintain eye contact, and try to project confidence. A genuine smile can go a long way too.
I'm also working on being more mindful of my tone of voice. Sometimes I get so caught up in explaining things, I end up sounding monotone or a little robotic.
It's about finding that balance between being professional and letting your personality shine through. Remember, they're not just hiring a set of skills, they're hiring a person.
It's about showing them you'd be a great addition to the team, both in terms of your abilities and your personality.
Exactly. And speaking of personality, let your enthusiasm for the role shine through. Even if you're nervous, try to channel that energy into excitement about the opportunity.
I've found that when I'm genuinely passionate about something, it comes across naturally. I'm more animated, I speak more clearly, and I think it's just more engaging for the listener.
And that's what you want. You want to create a connection with the interviewer. Show them that you're not just going through the motions, but that you're truly invested in this opportunity.
Now let's talk about something that might seem obvious, but it's worth mentioning. Professional attire. Even if the company has a casual dress code, it's always better to err on the side of formality for an interview.
Absolutely. A polished appearance shows you take the opportunity seriously, and you respect the interviewer's time. It's about putting your best foot forward, literally.
I've even used RoleCatcher's AI to get feedback on my interview outfit before. I uploaded a photo, and it analyzed things like the color palette, the level of formality, even gave me suggestions for accessories. It's like having a personal stylist.
That's amazing. Technology is incredible these days. And speaking of technology, let's not forget the power of the follow-up. After your interview, send a thank you note to the interviewer, reiterating your interest and highlighting a key point from your conversation.
It's a simple gesture, but it can make a big difference. I always try to personalize my thank you notes, mentioning something specific we discussed, or a question they answered that I found particularly insightful.
That's a great approach. It shows you were paying attention and that you're genuinely interested. And RoleCatcher's network management tool can even help you draft and schedule those thank you notes, ensuring you don't let anything slip through the cracks.
It's like having a personal assistant, managing all the little details of your job search.
Now, as we wrap up part 2 of our deep dive, I want to emphasize that confidence is key. You've put in the work, you've practiced your answers, you've researched the company. Now it's time to shine.
It's all about believing in yourself and showcasing your skills and experience with enthusiasm and authenticity.
Exactly. And remember, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way. Its AI-powered tools can be your secret weapon, helping you refine your resume, practice your answers, and even manage your professional network. It's like having a personal career coach in your pocket.
We're back for the final stretch of our sales processor interview deep dive. We've covered a ton of ground already, but before you walk into that interview, let's talk about how to leave a truly lasting impression.
Yeah, it's all about those final touches. you know, the ones that really set you apart. We've talked about prepping for questions, showcasing your skills, but now let's focus on those subtle cues that convey professionalism, enthusiasm, and that all-important I'm the perfect fit vibe.
Right, because it's more than just what's on your resume. They're trying to get a sense of who you are as a person and how you'd mesh with the team.
Exactly. Think of it like this. You've got the substance, now it's time to polish the presentation. So let's start with something that's often overlooked. Active listening. It sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how many people just focus on what they're going to say next, instead of truly absorbing what the interviewer is saying.
Oh, I know I'm guilty of that sometimes. My mind starts racing thinking about how to answer the next question, and I miss important details. Any tips for staying present and actively listening?
It's about being mindful and making a conscious effort to engage. Maintain good eye contact nod to show you're following along. Even jot down notes if it helps you stay focused. And don't be afraid to ask clarifying questions. It shows you're paying attention and genuinely interested.
It also shows you're not just passively receiving information, but actively trying to understand their perspective.
Precisely. And speaking of understanding perspectives, let's talk about empathy. Sales processors are often dealing with customers who might be stressed, frustrated, even angry. Being able to put yourself in their shoes and understand their emotions is crucial.
Right. It's not just about processing orders. It's about building relationships and providing that human touch. But how do you convey empathy in an interview setting?
Think back to a time when you had to deal with a challenging customer situation. How did you approach it? What language did you use? Did you try to understand their perspective before offering a solution? Those are the kinds of details that demonstrate empathy.
So instead of just saying, I'm a good listener, I might say, when a customer called in upset about a delayed shipment, I first acknowledged their frustration, then took the time to explain the situation and explore options to expedite the delivery. Something like that.
Perfect. You're showing them you can handle difficult situations with tact and compassion. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI can help you analyze your responses and suggest ways to make them even more impactful. It can even pick up on subtle cues in your tone of voice to help you convey empathy more effectively.
It's like having an emotional intelligence coach right there in your pocket. Now let's shift gears to a topic that can make a big difference, especially in those final moments of an interview, asking insightful questions.
This is your chance to go beyond the basics and show you've really thought about the role in the company. Avoid those generic questions that can be easily answered with a quick Google search. Instead, focus on questions that demonstrate your curiosity and your desire to learn.
So instead of asking, what's the company culture like, which is pretty vague, I might ask something more specific like, what are some initiatives the company is taking to foster a positive and inclusive work environment?
Excellent. That shows you're thinking about the bigger picture and that you value a supportive and diverse workplace. You could also ask about specific challenges the team is facing or opportunities for growth within the role.
I also like to ask about what a typical day looks like for someone in this position. It helps me get a better sense of the day-to-day responsibilities and whether it aligns with my skills and interests.
That's a great one. It shows you're practical and want to get a realistic preview of the job. And remember, those closing questions are your opportunity to gather information and to reinforce your enthusiasm and interest.
Right, it's like the final pitch.
Yeah.
Your chance to say, I'm really excited about this opportunity, and I think I'd be a great fit. Now, before we wrap up, I have to ask, what about those deal-breaker questions, the ones that come up unexpectedly and make you second-guess everything?
Those can be tough. It might be a question about salary work-life balance, or even company policies that don't align with your values. The key is to stay calm, be honest, and remember your worth.
So if they mention something that raises a red flag, it's okay to express my concerns or ask for clarification.
Absolutely. It's better to address those concerns up front than to end up in a role that's not a good fit. And remember, RoleCatcher can help you research company policies and reviews beforehand, so you're more prepared to navigate those potentially tricky conversations.
It's like having an advocate in your corner, helping you make informed decisions throughout the job search process.
Exactly. And finally, remember that the interview is a two-way street. It's not just about them evaluating you, it's also about you evaluating them. Pay attention to the company culture, the team dynamics, and the overall vibe.
Right, because even if they offer you the job, it's ultimately up to you to decide if it's the right fit for your goals and values.
Precisely. So as we wrap up this entire deep dive, I want to leave you with this. Believe in yourself, Showcase your strengths and let your passion shine through. You've got this.
And remember, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way. Its AI-powered tools can be your secret weapon, helping you refine your resume, practice your answers, and even navigate those tricky interview moments.
So go out there, ace that interview, and land that dream sales processor role. We're cheering you on.